You're watching HCAM TV.
Hello, Hopkinton, and welcome to the Hopkinton Hangout Hour, the Tuesday, June 30th edition. I'm Mike Terosian with my co-host, Jim Cousins. Hi, Jim.
Great. Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Hey, can you believe this is our last show of June?
Oh, I didn't even realize that. You're right.
This is, what,
Wow.
three months going
Another-
into month number 4?
Another month in the books.
Yeah, I'm just glad I was able to pull off a haircut. That's all I care about. That's all I think that was working for me. But luckily today, joining us is Judy Smith, an art teacher who teaches art at the Hopkinton Center for the Arts. Hello, Judith.
Hello there. How are you today, Michael, Jim? Pleasure
Hi.
to be here.
Glad to have you.
Thank
you for coming on and taking time out of your schedule, because being an art teacher today, or being any kind of teacher today, you had to change your whole life around, huh?
I did. I certainly did.
Let's start off real easy with the tough questions. Why don't you tell us about yourself, where you're from, and how you got started here?
Okay. So I live in Medway right now. I've been here for about 5 years. I lived in Stoughton prior to that for many, many years. I moved out here to be near my grandchildren, and I love the area. And that's how I got started in the Hopkinton Center. I have been teaching from the Children's Museum in Easton for years, which I still teach from there. I started Creative Kids and Talented Teens from my home. My undergrad is in art from Bridgewater State. I did get my master's in special ed, and I was teaching full-time at League School for autism. And prior to that, I had a floral business for many years in Easton. So a varied background. So I bring a lot of interesting different things to the table.
Sure.
So I love Hopkinton.
So not just being an artist, but teacher as well, and you taught your whole career, it sounds.
Correct.
And you've been doing it for a long time, especially the material that I've read on you.
Yes.
And where you still teach in all different locations, the pandemic, was this method of teaching something new, or did you do some virtual stuff before this?
Never. I never did virtual before, ever. Always in person. Always, yes, one-to-one with my students. Groups, large groups, small groups, one-on-one. So it was a shock. But I was in the process of teaching the rest of my term of Creative Kids and Talented Teens, our spring term. And we had our real art show and awards at the Stoughton Public Library. And the night of our opening on March 11th, the town manager had to shut down public gatherings.
Sure.
So that kind of put a stop. It was a little bit traumatic and hard for the children, especially hard for the children to understand.
So you weren't able to do it because they did shut you down?
They did.
Yeah.
I was en route. I was about 15 minutes from the building when I got the call. So I got there and it was a little bit quite unexpected. And some of my students were en route as well. So it kind of evolved into something we've never seen before. And it was the brand new addition to the Stoughton Public Library upstairs with a beautiful gallery, the beautiful public room with our, we were giving out art awards for our memorial scholarship in honor of my mom. It was a big night,
Sure.
But we couldn't do it. So, we have to adapt. We have to follow what's good for the community and the community rules. So we went home. We did what we could and we went home. We could not have a gathering, but the library at that point was still open. So whoever came in was there. And that's about what we were able to do. So our paintings are quarantined there still.
So you haven't been able to see any of your material since?
No. So we have, I think I sent you this. This was the invitation. So Pat Basler, the director of the library, was kind enough to put together a virtual art show. So we had at the end of our class, the end of June, I waited till school got out because
Yep.
parents are very overwhelmed with trying to be homeschoolers and work at home. So I said, let's wait till the end of school. And we were able to conduct a little bit of a virtual art show
Okay.
because Pat has it up on the website. The work will still be there, as far as I know, until school starts or until the public library opens. So that was something that they did for us, which was very much appreciated. And I realized that even though I'm not a young person, I am young at heart and young in my mind. So I needed to keep going for my students. And they gave me the energy and the strength. I said, we've got to finish our session somehow. And if Zoom is the way to go, then that's what we're going to do.
Sure.
So we got on it. We Zoomed our way through the end of the season, and you will not believe, but I had a May mini course season. All Zoom.
All Zoom.
All Zoom. And it was amazing. My students, hats off to them and the parents who support them at home. And I feel like I'm getting teary-eyed right now because they were able to do it, and we went on.
And
Show must go on, right?
Show must go on. That's why we're here today. You know, we can't be in the studio, although Jim looks like he's in the studio there.
Yes.
You know, he pulls off that beautiful background. But we had to adapt, you know, figure out how we were going to do it. And it wasn't easy in the beginning to get this show even on the up and running on the air. But it's great how everybody's adapted. We talked to music teachers, English teachers, everybody, and it's incredible. So one of the things that I'm curious about is what were your class sizes like? Were they just all one-on-one? Were they 50 or more? I mean, what kind of classes were you doing?
So the classes that I run at the Children's Museum, the Creative Kid Talented Teens, have no more than 15 children in the group.
Okay.
So we had 3 more classes. So we did 3 more with the rest of them. They had already paid. They were so good. No one asked for their money back. Not one person. They went right forward and said, let's do it. So that was wonderful for me because I thought, oh, this is the end of everything. But no, it wasn't. And we finished that. And then I said, okay, well, if anyone wants to try the May mini course. And we had 12 in the Creative Kids. And I had 4 to 6 talented teens. So 4 were consistently coming and some would come every couple of weeks.
Yep.
So that was pretty amazing. And we went forward with our projects and I learned new tricks. I borrowed a document camera to try to get close-ups. I have my extra device over here in case something happens with the internet. And there is one funny story with my little ones. They're only 6 and 7. And I explained to them what I'm doing. And you know how technologically astute they are.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And I said, okay, kids, so if Mrs. Smith messes up somehow or the internet goes crazy, here's what I want you to do, you know, keep going. I'm going to get Mr. Smith's tablet and I'll do this and that. And I'm going to have this ready. So you just keep going. So it happened one night, you know, and sometimes at night, everyone gets on the internet. You get all these weird things and Zoom would just bounce on and off or whatever. Some reason I couldn't see them, but they couldn't see me or hear me, but I could see them and hear them. I don't know how it happened. So I heard one of them saying, hey, Mrs. Smith isn't there. You know what she'd want us to do. Let's get drawing. So, and I was back on in 5 minutes and I say, oh, I'm so proud. I see how you carried on. No one fell apart. Everyone was very flexible and keep going. So
I don't know. Wow. Jim, I don't know. How are your students, Jim?
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was very different. So Judith, I'm really interested. I'm like, let's not talk pandemic now, right?
Yes.
What are your classes like? What types of things do you do and bring into your classes?
Yeah, we do a lot of cool things. You know, the past maybe 10 years, because I've been on a track record for a long time now. And so what I used to teach, you know, a few years ago is different from the way I teach now. Obviously, I'm different. The world is different. The kids are different. Technology is different. So what I've discovered is that fine motor skills are not a given.
Okay.
Years ago, because I was a private after school additional art class, pretty advanced work, things that you don't have time to do in school class, where you have large classes, maybe you don't have the supplies and materials. My students' parents buy all the materials. I give them a list. They have what they need. They have everything they want and need to make beautiful art in 90 minutes and smaller classes. And they have a little bit more freedom, more of a constructivist type approach that I have, so that it's not do this and be done in 6 minutes. It's more of an open brain type work. I think sometimes in school they have to be, there's a lot of time limits. So we have 90 minutes. So I say, you know, you do have time to think. One of the big things I do is a big piece of paper, 18 by 24 inch, huge pad. And a lot of kids have never seen this much paper. So they have to learn to expand. I said, you got to have big, you got to think big, your brain's got to open up. So I work with right and left brain. So we're thinking about what we're doing, we're thinking about space, we're thinking about measurements and math, but we also have to have that part of the brain that says, this is what I think. So a lot of kids don't know what to think, or they don't know what they think. And so years ago, to get back to the fine motor, I was assuming they knew how to hold a pencil, how to cut with scissors, how to use a ruler. Those things were being done. For example, when they're teaching handwriting in class, penmanship, rulers, those things, measuring. I'm not saying they don't measure in school, but the math is different the way it's taught. And sometimes it isn't a real ruler. It might be a paper ruler, because I also taught in the schools and, you know, subbed with math and so forth. And so measuring is hard for a lot of them. So I brought back some of the things with fine motor and math thinking to my classes now. And so you'll see, if we have a chance to do a little project, I do a lot more with the fine motor now that I would assume they had before.
What materials are you working with? What are the kids?
Well, we use pencil, and of course, and different types of pencils, 2B, 4B, 6B, different types of erasers. I do a lot with different types of materials, because they might not have it in school or at home. So it's things that they might not have as a usual thing. So we've got to learn how to do it with shading. And then we use Sharpie, a lot of Sharpie. And I've been doing more with Sharpie these days, because with all the brain research that's out there, I have seen some research that 3 exposures help your brain retain information. So I will do like an air draw, finger draw for spatial awareness. And then you do your pencil, and then you outline it with Sharpie. And it's very high contrast, because I teach all kinds of kids.
Yeah.
So they're not all one way.
Yeah.
And
now, I'm old enough to remember when I started with the Sharpies in college, it was only black. That's all a Sharpie was.
Yeah.
Do you use just black, like black pencils and black Sharpies, or do you have color in there too?
Well, we do black to begin with, and then we unleash the color. So I want them to think first with their brain. So we think, we talk, and we air draw. So that's where that cognitive approach is. Now, in the beginning, I used to say, all right, we're going to think about dogs, and you're going to draw a dog. But kids' brains are a little bit different now. They have a lot of structure in school and so forth, and sometimes they just don't know what to do with all of that. So I start them off being more structured. And then with the color, I say, all right, now here's what we're going to do. You may use oil pastel. You can use chalk pastel. You can use colored pencil, Prismacolor I love. You can use the Crayola oil pastel. So there's different kinds of pastels that they have to learn to get used to. There's some things are permanent, some things are not permanent. We do use acrylic. I put everything at them. In the last 3 or 4 years, I've actually had a couple of clay lessons in there, because I love clay, but at the museum, sometimes it's hard to do clay. You've got to have some space and place to store it. So we do air dry clay, Crayola, and Model Magic is great. And we did a lot of mixed media the last couple of years. so that they're cutting, they're pasting, they're collaging, but they'll draw that original drawing first. So those are all the materials that we do use.
And is this segregated by you take a class and that's it? Or is it kind of like when you're taking piano lessons where students just keep coming to you?
I have people that keep coming. I have students that have started when they were 5 and go until they're 18.
No kidding.
And that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I have students, yes, they come back to me. And I actually have one student who has been adjudicating my art shows. I told my students, I said, I can't vote. I love you all. You know that. I wouldn't be objective. So my past art students come back and judge for me. And one of them is a teacher at Brockton right now at D'Angelo School. She's been there teaching elementary art. We've been in contact quite a bit. And I'm trying to get her on board at Hopkinton too. So I have another student, I got an email, and this is fun, that the parent sent me an email with a picture of the first sneaker. We do a lot of visual drawing, so they had to draw a sneaker. And she said, that's the first sneaker she ever did, and you will never believe it. She's gone to college and she's working for Nike now, drawing,
wow.
drawing sneaker designs. I can't tell you what, because it's top secret what she's working on. So, you know, we have all kinds of kids who are doing things. I have another one who's working in New York City for a very famous designer, party planner and so forth. So it's great when I hear about how well they're doing, and they don't all go into art. So I regard art training is a pathway to your life. So it doesn't mean you're going to be a starving artist and make no money. So that's, fortunately, the parents who send their kids to me understand that, you know, it doesn't mean.
You had mentioned, I was kind of interested. I was going to ask about this. What are the projects that you work on? Do you assign them? Do the kids come up with their concepts? How does that work?
Yes, the little ones, I do plan things for them. The last few years, I find that that's more secure for them. And certainly this past year, I do find that kids get very stressed out. They're stressed out from school. They stress when they come to me. I've seen a very high level of stress in my students the last couple of years for different reasons. And I will say that the first time I noticed a change in students was after Sandy Hook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the level, so I really have to approach, unfortunately, I am trained in special education. So I have a lot of background. I did work at the School for Autism for behavioral and social emotional and that kind of development. So it goes hand in hand with art, because art is such a great vehicle for everything.
Right. And so you've noticed that when the kids were coming to you, you're noticing a lot more stress.
Yes.
How is that impacting the work with you?
Incredible stress. And, you know, obviously I can't say too much, but I will say that I could see the stress on the Zoom as well. So it's interesting when you see it in person and then you see it through a screen. But the students that I had were not new to me. I know them very well. They've been with me 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you know. So you can see the stress level coming through.
Yeah.
So I'm able to fend that off and calm them and, you know, do what I can to regulate.
Right.
Because, you know, the emotions, regulation is so important to learning.
Right.
If they're regulated, that brain is open.
Right. And how are you seeing the stress impacting their work?
You see it, they just don't have it to devote to the work.
Okay.
And you know how you are, if you have been working all day and then at 11 o'clock at night, you got to sit and do another project, like a second shift. It's like a second shift. And then someone says, all right, this budget is due in an hour. So get this budget together. And so you don't really have the same facility in your brain to think about problem solving or planning. You got to have executive function to say, all right, I'm going to do step 1. I'm going to step 2. You get confused or upset and you give up and you're tired and you just go, oh, I just really can't do it. So one adaptation I've made for Zoom, is that for younger children, no more 90 minutes. And that is something I have learned. I offered 90 minutes because my class was 90 minutes, but in-person 90 minutes is so different from Zoom 90 minutes for ages 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Now my teens, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, they can do 90 minutes, no problem. Unless if I do see emotional dysregulation, sometimes they can't. So we either think up something else or they take a break. So, got to take a break. But so now my summer series that I have, and certainly when I designed this class for Hopkinton coming up, the Art Adventures class is coming up starting Monday, July 6th, and it's space exploration. It's from 9 to 10. I had to think very carefully and take what I learned and apply it to how can this help parents this summer? How can they do it? First of all, kids are more lively alert in the morning, little ones. Teenagers, not so much. 9 o'clock is way too early for teenagers, but the little ones, yeah. So from 9 to 10, they're pretty ready to have 60 minutes. And after next week, I'll let you know how it goes. But 60 minutes, not 90, not 2 hours.
Now is this a follow-up from your Under the Sea project that you just worked on?
Yes, well, the Under the Sea, I did a little video to say we're having virtual Under the Sea, and that's on the Hopkinton website, and I did a little video with my hat, and then I have my crab, and we're doing this and we're doing that. It's going to be wonderful.
Oh, if you hold up that crab again, I can show you. There's your illustrations from
there
some of
we
your students
go.
there.
Yes, and so this is the famous crab, and that is right there. So we did direct observation for that one. Thank you for showing that, because here he is. Mr. Squid is one of my favorite ones too, and fish. So this is from last year, and they did starfish, and this is a paper plate fish, and this is actually a Post-it notepad, but they had to do patterns inside the fish.
Inside, okay.
And this is direct observation with pencil, Sharpie, and watercolors, and oil pastel. So I try to mix all those media in one piece. This is sand underneath, and then they had to cut and paste and make the big collage. So this was their presentation for the parents, which we had last summer. So this summer will be a little different. Everything virtual. We do have a Disney theme coming up, and there's what we did last year. We did Mickey Mouse. There's Buzz Lightyear. Then you have Mr. Potato Head and Mike the Monster. And I had them as young as 4 at Hopkinton. Wow. Incredible. They're not even in preschool, some of them. You think they all know how to sit down. No. So you do have to work with behavior and getting to the learning process.
Right.
So
it's not just like here's a bunch of paint, throw your fingers in there and go at it. This is a whole learning step. And I tell you, I loved it. If it wasn't it, I loved what you said earlier, how not all my students become starving artists. So some people have to do other things. No. And I am so glad for the yacht that I was able to get throughout my school years. I got it all the way up through junior high. And absolutely. I'm so glad I got it.
Well, I think it helps your brain just work from right to left. And sometimes in school, we don't get that interaction between both sides of your brain.
Sure.
And I feel like sometimes in Asian cultures, they take a different approach where you are using right and left. And you'll see pictures of little ones standing up at age 5 doing the calligraphy. The arts are very much part of the learning process. I actually even read one article, not really a study, but it backs up the fact that the fine motor in students now is at a different level than what was 10 years ago, where they can push buttons and swipe. But this kind of action, like cutting scissors, cutting paper, kneading clay, all those things are different. Sewing, penmanship, eye-hand coordination, those things are not where they were. And I love technology, believe me. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for technology. So it's nothing against that. However, I don't want to lose other things. And so this article was from a professor at med school, and he has the interns backtrack and learn fine motor because they're coming to him now, the new generation. They can't do stitching.
Yeah.
You have to sew the sutures, right?
And I'm even seeing kids that, I call them kids that can't even read an analog clock, a wristwatch.
Yeah,
analog watch.
Analog and digital clocks, the timing. And so I use the clocks also. We always talk about the clock when we're making a circle or halves or fourths and fractions.
Sure.
So we use that all the time. So this is one of the things that we did do last year. And talking about what can parents do at home. I think you wanted to know.
Yeah, I want to.
Some examples.
Yeah, as we wrap up, we have about 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, we won't have time to do it, but I can show you the pieces. Yep. And one of the things parents, sometimes they're afraid because they think, I don't know anything about it, I can't do it. And so just providing materials and sitting there with your child and allowing your child to explore is a very valid thing. Certainly during COVID, they need to say something. Some of these kids need to do something to say how they're feeling, even if it's just color everything black.
And that's just 4 simple items right there.
Yeah, I love this because it's a simple thing. I tell parents, buy these cheap paper plates.
Yep.
So you can do so much with it. So basically, you're going to fold it in half.
Yep.
And then cut. And don't forget, the little kid's scissors, and persist and see if that thumb can go in the right place in the 2 fingers. So this is all valid education. And cut that. And it's a little tricky. They have to squeeze. And that's important. So anything they can do. Now, if that's too frustrating, you can always, like say for a 2-year-old, the 2-year-old is not going to be able to do that. So you may present it like this and get it all ready. But I have a 6-year-old grandson, and we're practicing with the paper punch, and that's squeezing those hand muscles like that. Sure. And if they don't know how to space it, you can older kids can measure, but younger kids, you can put the dots there and they can punch on the dot. And then you make a face. So how are you feeling today? Let's talk about social emotional. How's our octopus feeling today? Can you tell me? How's he feeling? How do you think he's feeling, Jim?
I think he looks happy.
I think he looks happy too. What about you, Mike?
I agree. It looks like he's having a very good day.
Does he look happy? Yeah. So that's good. If you're feeling happy today, that's nice because it's a nice day. And so then we have how many legs? We do science. Let's talk about octopus. How many legs? And what else is on it? And this is pipe cleaners are great because they can learn to thread things, and these things go through the holes. Fantastic. You can use them for anything, even if yarn is too frustrating, because you don't want the frustration level to be too high. And then we'll put the pipe cleaners in, and I strung these with Cheerios. So we can have snack time.
Yep. And
we can have math time.
That's the part I noticed first. And Judith, I want to really thank you. We are out of time. Went by so fast. There's so many more questions. I'm probably going to have to get you one more time before the summer's over. So, but thank you for taking the time. Learned a lot today. And I wish you a great summer success. And
I hope I see some children at the Hopkinton Center for the Arts. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And,
I appreciate it.
Jim, we just got a quick second from Matt to come on and give us an update on what's coming on the rest of the week. Matt.
Thanks, Mike. Well, just real quick, tomorrow we have the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition on the show at 2 p.m. And then at 7, we're going to have the Gathering in Quarantine. So, tomorrow's going to be a really good show.
Excellent. All right. So now we're going to bring you back with Tom and he talked earlier with Dan Norton and the lacrosse captains. So we're going to bring that up. There you go.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. And joining us now on the Hopkinton Hangout Hour, we're going to have Hillers Boys lacrosse head coach Dan Norton. And we also got some of the captains here as well, Luke McDonald and Stephen Maffiori. We got Seth Jenkins and Connor Sullivan. Guys, how are you doing?
Great. Well.
All right. And Dan, Connor, just make sure the mics are unmuted. There you go. Yep. Perfect.
Great. How are you?
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for coming on. How have you guys been with everything going on? Obviously, it's unfortunate that you're not out there playing lacrosse right now, but what have you been doing to pass the time? We'll start off with Connor.
I've been able to do some wall ball and shooting. I've been doing these Zoom workouts, and then also watching a lot of movies and Netflix and playing some video games.
Terrific. What about you, Steven?
We're all pretty much doing the same thing. There's not too much to do here at home, but a lot of family time. We've been watching some movies, playing different games. Been going on bike rides, which is cool, like at the Milford Bike Path and some trails in the woods. So any activities just to keep myself busy and hope for the best soon.
How about you, Luke?
Yeah, me and my brother have been biking a lot. We're really into mountain biking. And we've been playing a lot of wall ball, just like everyone else in the team, doing a lot of chores around the house. So we're staying busy.
Excellent. And how about you, Seth?
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of running, trying to get outside as much as I can, even though it's been raining a lot. And I've been painting my house, which has taken a lot of time. So that's kind of my main priority right now.
All right. And how about you, Coach?
Similar to Seth, I was helping at my grandparents' house. They're selling. So just helping move some stuff around last week and painting. And then we're going to attempt to redo the floors this week. And we've just been doing a lot of fishing too, which has been nice to get out there. It's very, very relaxing. And they're actually, stocking a lot in Hopkinton and, around the local areas too, because they're emptying all the hatcheries from the fishing plants. So some good fish out there.
Absolutely. Maybe not the best day for catching them today. Coach, how have you been staying in contact with the players, and what is some of the reaction from them about everything going on?
Yeah, we've been doing, like Connor said too, we've been doing Zooms either once or twice a week. We also set up a Google Classroom, which we have, most of our guys in there. We have a few youth players in there as well. So if anybody's watching this that's a youth player and you want to get into it, feel free to just shoot me an email. I can enter you in there. Or you can go on to any of our social media, just Hiller Lacrosse on Twitter or Instagram. And in the Google Classroom, we're putting in drills and, daily workouts. We've kind of shifted into another program that we put in a request for to get from the boosters. It's like a all online training type of thing, so we can still have our guys play the sport that they love to play, and it allows us to interact with each other too in the classroom portion of it, and then on the Zoom. And then as Connor was saying too, last Saturday it was awesome. We had Mike Peschler from Athletic Strength Training held a Zoom workout for us, and it was excellent. It was good to get everyone laughing and sweating together. And it's I'd be lying, and these guys would be lying if they said it didn't stink right now that we're not out there, but we're trying to make the most of it and control what we can control.
And for the players, can you each talk about what you miss most about just being out there on the field?
Yeah, just seeing everyone's faces, everyone getting better every day at practice, really miss that. It's really one of the more memorable things throughout the season. So,
yeah, one of the best things about high school sports is just like everyone says they love to play and you love to play the sports, but one of the best things about high school sports is just like the camaraderie we all have with each other. So like whether it's with the other seniors or juniors or all the underclassmen, just going out there every day, playing the sport we love to play with we're a family during the season. So just not being able to go out there with those guys is definitely something I miss.
Yeah, just miss being with the boys and competing together against other towns and just trying to win, and then just putting in the work to get better every day.
I would say practice, just because the competition within the team too is really awesome, and we just try and make each other better. So it really shows on the field.
And have you guys been doing any workouts or drills to stay in shape for the potential there is this season? And we certainly hope there is one at some point.
Yeah, we have a lot of workouts and stuff in the Google Classroom that Coach and Mike Peschler have been giving us, a lot of wall ball challenges and different drills to do. So everyone's been taking full advantage of the resources we have, and definitely getting better.
Excellent. And Coach, for those that don't know, could you tell us a little bit about your coaching history and when you decided you wanted to coach lacrosse?
So yeah, I started playing lacrosse as a young age, at a young age. I was a younger brother, so thank goodness my brother played lacrosse. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have ever picked it up. And I played other sports in high school too, but really just fell in love with lacrosse. Went on to play in college, and Seth's actually going to the same place next year. So go Springfield. And, I loved it there. Played for an amazing coach that, has really, groomed a lot of, high school head coaches, college head coaches, studied phys ed there, and, kind of just fell into it. I helped out at went back to my alma mater first, while I was teaching in Hopkinton. I was coaching in Ashland, and then the Hopkinton job opened up, and came over here. Been over here for 6 years now, and been coaching total for 10.
So, Dan, is there any green in that blood of yours, or is it still all blue?
Depends what day of the week it is.
just checking on that. So, listen, I see a lot of creativity going on with all these schools, and I saw you a little dance video there at Marathon and everything. Are we going to see a lacrosse video coming up?
That sounds like a challenge. I don't know.
It could be.
We might have to do it. Yeah.
Might have to do it. You got some moves there still. You can
yeah, hey.
figure something out. I'd love to see it.
Yeah. That sounds like a challenge. That's something we can work on.
Now, as you guys were just mentioning about, here it is your senior year, and and it's not about playing the games. That's everything. It's everything in between. And what are some creative things you're doing that's helping of course, other being quarantined, making things memorable. What are you guys trying to do virtually that, trying to make things fun, even though you can't see each other? Any of you?
Yeah. So when we do our Zooms, we kind of like to start off, we've been doing definitely a lot of, lacrosse specific stuff, just because, that's why these guys are here, is because they love the sport, and so do we as coaches and stuff too. But, we've been starting off our Zooms with just some funny stuff, now that classrooms have gone to the Zoom level. I have some funny stories from the, elementary level where, whatever we're doing that I can share with the kids. And then, these guys have some pretty funny ones too that, I can't condone as a teacher, but some of the stuff has been pretty funny that these guys are doing.
And for the players, can you talk a little bit about your lacrosse history, how long you've been playing lacrosse, and when you first got interested in the sport? Start off with Seth.
Yeah, so my first year, I think, was in third grade, and I actually played baseball and lacrosse. And definitely after that year, I knew lacrosse was for me, and that baseball was just too slow for me. And I fell in love with lacrosse after that, and been playing ever since.
Wonderful. How about you, Connor?
Yeah, probably I think it was like second grade I started playing, but I really like baseball more. And then around middle school, I just loved lacrosse a lot more and had more fun playing it. So I switched and pretty much just continued playing nonstop after that.
Excellent. How about you, Luke?
So my dad went to Holy Cross and played lacrosse there. So ever since me and my brother were born, we've always had a stick in our hands. So we started in kindergarten, first grade. We've been doing it ever since. And some of the most memorable games are with these guys in middle school, and before that, just playing other towns in our select team, even before high school. So it's just it's been a long journey, but it's been a lot of fun.
Excellent. And did we miss anybody? Connor?
Yeah, sorry. So Steven's power went out, and he's having a little trouble getting back on.
Okay.
Oh, there he is. He just came back. I'm going to let him in.
That's certainly an issue today with all that wind out there. That's for sure.
I already lost half my roof already. So, yeah, that's how I started my day.
And you're still here for the show.
Yes.
It's pretty good.
Hey, look, you said you were born with the sticks in your hand, and I see a nice old one in the back. Is that a family item there?
No, I got that maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It has my name ingrained in my number 7. My parents got it for me, one for my brother as well. So that was something really special.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And we got Stephen back with us. Stephen, just had the players talking about their lacrosse history. Can you talk about how long you've been playing lacrosse and when you first got interested in the sport?
Yeah, sorry, my power just went out, so I tried to put up a little hotspot on my phone to get back in here. But yeah, so my dad was actually a baseball guy his whole life, so I grew up playing baseball. And my next door neighbor actually introduced me to lacrosse. I would play in the backyard with his son, so I ended up joining. I think I was fourth or fifth grade. I joined a little later than I think some of these guys did, but immediately when I started playing, I really fell in love with it. It was something I loved to do, was just run around and then play a game like that. Like that's why I like basketball too. There's different sports like that. So I really started falling in love with it right when I started playing, and I've been playing ever since.
And Stephen, of course, you had a great run with the basketball team this season. Can you talk about what it was like to go all the way to the sectional finals this year?
Yeah. No, it was awesome. It was really, it's awesome to see your work where you start right when the season ended last year. You put that work in to start for the next year, and being in the central finals, just seeing all that work really come to fruition, and like to get there was awesome. It was really fun just being with the guys that long. I mean, obviously we didn't win, so that was tough, but just getting there, and when we were just like being at that game, like the support we had, not just from the students, but the whole town, it was really special. And hopefully we'll have the chance to do something this year in lacrosse, whether it just be play or if we have some type of playoff or something like that, hopefully try and do something like that here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're certainly hoping for at least some games this year. I know the MIAA just recently had a vote where they pretty much canceled the state tournament, but the sectionals are still a go, at least for now. So hopefully we'll have that. So one thing that a lot of high school teams, high school athletes have been doing is, especially on Twitter, sharing some of their favorite memories of their careers. So I want to ask you guys to talk about some of your favorite memories of your careers as lacrosse players. We'll start off with Coach Norton.
Honestly, as a coach, I think it's just those guys share the individual wins and stuff a little more. I think it's just the stuff in between. I think Seth was talking about it too. Just my memories are the connections made while we're stretching and talking. In between drills. The bus rides. With kids after practice. Those are the connections and the memories that I love. Just watching these boys. When we get them turn into men when they're done, and that's really special to me. So I can't really narrow it down to one. I know that's kind of a generic answer, but I think it's just the process of watching these kids grow up and being a part of that.
Is there any specific games that you coached that you could recall that were just unbelievable to be coaching at?
Probably my first one in Hopkinton. We had our original opener was snowed out or something like that. So our first game was at Ashland, where I had just head coached those kids the year before. So it was a little weird. And there was a lot more fans than there normally would be for a lacrosse game there. So, it was kind of fun. The fans were getting rowdy, and, a lot of people were mad at me, but it kind of made it fun too. And we won.
All right. So Dan, I'm the optimist. You know that. May 7th, we're going to see our first lacrosse game, right?
Yes, sir.
May 7th. And with that, how have you, because I know you're an optimist as well, and how do you have yourself prepared mentally, and how are you going to get these kids ready for that May 7th start date?
Well, I think, the motivation piece this year, with this group we have anyways, these kids are so motivated, but I think with this going on right now, if someone said, hey, we can have practice in 10 minutes, they'd be there in 1 minute. It's, we have a very special group. So I think, the motivation piece, these guys, you're looking at them right there. They do it for our team. And especially with this year, whatever we can salvage, I don't think there's going to be a single kid in any program across the state that's not coming foaming at the mouth, ready to go.
Sure. But
I think especially with our senior group, just to brag about them a little bit too, they've got in their freshman or junior year, they have the highest win total of a 3-year period in our program history. And, it's all due to, not just these 4 guys here, but this whole senior class is just very special. We got 12 guys that are, committed to our, off-season weight room stuff, community service, just a very special class.
Oh, that was the other question I wanted to say with the community service part of it. To you boys, are there any community service that you're able to do virtually, or is there any kind of community service work that you guys are doing now?
Yeah, so I was just cleaning out my basement the other day, and I found a bunch of old lacrosse sticks, shafts, heads, some with good mesh, some with bad mesh, and I've been stringing sticks since the 2nd grade as well. My dad taught me how to do that. So I have about 7 heads, I believe, that I'm going to string up and put some shafts on, and we'll try to get those to the youth players, some new youth players when this all clears up. But that's as much as we can do right now for community service, at least for me.
Yeah, you guys are being creative. You're doing what little you can. How about anybody else?
I've donated some food to people in need, but can't really do a ton of community service right now. But yeah.
We've actually got a store up right now too. It just came up today. So if anybody who's watching goes to our Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, just a web store where instead of us gaining proceeds, we're going to donate it to the Massachusetts COVID-19 Fund.
What's that website?
If you just go to our Twitter at Hillary Ross, there's a link there.
Excellent.
Sorry to cut you off, Steve.
No, I wish I knew how to string heads. That'd be pretty cool. But unfortunately, there's nothing really I'm doing right now. But I'm happy. I'm lucky enough, and my family's lucky enough to be healthy. So if there's anything we can do, I'm sure we'd love to.
And I want to ask you guys about what's some of your favorite memories as players of boys lacrosse. Is there any specific games or moments that were just fun or exciting to be a part of? We could start off with you, Stephen.
Yeah, definitely last year we won the playoff game against Wayland. That was definitely a memorable one. It was our first playoff win as a group since we had joined. We had some success in the regular season, freshman and sophomore year, and then junior year, but we had never really gotten over that hill where we got that playoff win. So that win was awesome. And then something that wasn't in high school, when we were 8th grade, our senior group has been really close. These lacrosse guys, we've been playing all since we were younger. So when we played 8th grade, we had a big rivalry against Franklin. They're not on the TVL, but they're that we played every year. Some of us guys know some of them, so it was always a big game, and we finally got that win that we've been looking for in our final game of 8th grade. So that was a big memory for us.
Wonderful. And I think we may have lost Seth. So how about you, Connor? Any specific memories you can recall?
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to say the playoff game last year is because it was our first win ever. And we started off really slow and we were down. And then we just battled back and played flawless in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter and ended up blowing them out. And it was just awesome to be a part of our first playoff win. And yeah.
What about you, Luke?
Yeah, I immediately thought of Westwood, the Westwood game, the away game sophomore year. We won it in the last couple of minutes. And freshman year, we had lost them a few times, so that was just a big game marked on our schedules all year. And we finally beat them, and that was just a great feeling.
Excellent. And we do have a YouTube question from one of our viewers. Matt, what's our YouTube question?
Yeah, someone watching wants to know, among you, are there any hockey players, and is there any crossover of skills and strategy between the two sports?
For us three, and Seth, none of us play hockey, but there are definitely kids on our team that play hockey. I can't really speak for experience, but I think definitely like guys that play hockey that had joined lacrosse last year, it was kind of like their first time. I feel like their stick skills were like developed a little quicker, just, having that feel with a hockey stick and kind of translating to lacrosse. Obviously not the same, definitely different skills, but just the feel for having the stick in your hand, I felt like definitely helped them cross over. But unfortunately, I can't really answer that question. But
well, what about you as a basketball player, Steven? Is there any specific skills or drills that benefit you playing both sports?
Yeah, whenever someone asks me like, what's it like playing multiple sports, I love it because I'm able to translate what I do in some sports and bring it to other. So I played point guard in basketball, and just growing up playing point guard, you really learn to with the vision and like unselfish play, stuff like that, and you kind of look a step ahead of what the next play, and what's gonna happen if one guy slides to you, and like kind of the puzzle pieces of the game. So for me, like that was something that really helped when I started playing lacrosse and kind of started understanding a little bit more. I felt like growing up playing basketball, I was kind of able to see the game a little better. So that definitely helped me. And then, different drills, I guess, that translate. I feel like kind of all translate. Kind of just take one thing from the other sport and bring it into the next one.
And Coach, so have you put together a workout type of plan that you send to all your players or anything like that?
Yeah, so we're actually so I'll do like the lacrosse end of it, and then Mike Peschler has been sharing some at home workouts that you don't need any equipment for. So it's been great. It's been very helpful just because not everyone has like a full gym set up at their house, so it's able to include everybody. And then I'll send the lacrosse specific type of stuff.
Terrific. And again, hopefully we'll see a season in the very near future. What do you guys miss most about normal life and being in school? We'll start off with Connor.
Yeah, just missing seeing people that like I'm not like super close with, just people in school, and just like talking to everyone, and just like seeing people besides your family and like not on a video screen. So it's just kind of tough not being able to do that.
And how about you, Luke?
Well, the other day my mom asked me to just run a quick errand, grab something from the store, and I just got so excited to leave the house. That was just one thing, like you don't really know what you have until you don't have it. Like just the freedom to go wherever you want and to do whatever you want. Really, I'm really missing that right about now. So,
how about you, Steven?
Yeah, I definitely feel like it really puts stuff into perspective. We've taken some things for granted. Like if you were to tell us, you have like a snow day or something, like we'd be awesome. It would be awesome. We wouldn't have to go to school. We'd be excited. But I really took it for granted because now, we might never get to go back to high school, and for us, that stinks. There's people we might not see, there's people we might not talk to, but there's people that we want to say goodbye to, and those everyday interactions that we really just take for granted are something I definitely miss.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm sure this is it's tough for everybody, but especially the seniors who may not get to see their classmates for a while. That has to be tough for you guys. Coach, what are some of the things that you miss about everyday normal life?
Just being able to see these guys, this is my favorite time of year. Feel blessed that I, get to call this a job where I get to go and hang out with awesome guys like these guys and coach with some of my great friends and, coach against some of my great friends. I think our league is a very special league where we have, everyone who we coach against is always, awesome and, always good to catch up and, win or lose, it's just a great time. And, to Steve's point too, I think, there are times during a normal season where you're frustrated or this or that, but, I'd give this up for being frustrated right now with something. Definitely miss it. But I'm just so proud of these guys here and all of our kids just for, continuing to, make the most out of the situation and find a positive in it.
Well, I have to say, I miss calling games. Spring season's usually a lot of fun when you have boys and girls lacrosse, softball, baseball. It's a big, probably the most sports going on in any given season. So certainly missing calling games a little bit. Coach, I want to have you mention that what you guys are doing. You mentioned your Twitter, the Hillers Boys Lacrosse Twitter. Could you talk about that program just to get out there what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so what we're doing is through Atlantic Sportswear. It's a web store that closes on the 20th. And, obviously that company is going to be making money, but any of the funds that would have come to our program, because it's normally run as a fundraiser, 100% of the funds that would have come to us, we're going to donate to the Massachusetts COVID-19 fund. So, there's many options on there. I believe it comes out to I don't know the exact percent. It's around like $4 per item that would go towards this fund. And then they'll, cut us a check that our team can present to the COVID-19 fund. But it's only open for a week. It's like a strict 1 week thing. And then it just mails directly to the purchaser too. It wouldn't come to me.
And there's some very nice stuff up on that website as well. Some great Hillers lacrosse gear. So be sure to check out Hillers Boys Lacrosse on Twitter. And you guys are raising money for a great cause. And thanks for all you guys have done for the community between your volunteer efforts and all the great stuff that the Boys Lacrosse program is doing.
Thank you for having us on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, guys, stay safe out there.
Stay safe.
See you guys soon.
You too.
You certainly have to do it again, guys. Take care.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we got a couple more minutes left here. So, Mike, it has to be tough for the seniors to not be playing right now.
I tell you, it's the worst. It's gonna be tough for all the seniors because this is their last year. This is their best time. This is what all the hard work leads up to. And let's leave the sports part of it, just being a senior alone. You're going to probably lose out on your cruise, your senior dinner, your senior dance. Juniors lose out on their proms. But all these things that, that we have to do to stay alive and keep others alive. And these kids have great spirits. You see it all over Facebook and Instagram on how much they're doing to support each other. Like you said, he was looking for this. They want to give. They can't go out and do community service. So what does he do? He goes downstairs, starts restringing up some sticks, just to give to youth players. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it certainly is. And really, it's about anything you could do to help out anybody right now. And I just think he did a terrific job with that. Well, we do have shows all week long. The Hopkinton Hangout Hour every weekday, 2:00 right here on HCAM TV, as well as our YouTube page, youtube.com/HCAM TV. Tomorrow we get tech tips from a couple of very smart Hillers. And then we're going to be talking recipes. And then on Wednesday, we got Chief Slammin and Coach Keene coming on. And I'm certainly looking forward to talking to Coach Keene about the tremendous basketball run that team had this year. But we are just about out of time. So I think that is just about going to do it for this edition of the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. For everyone here at HCAM, I'm Tom Nappy. A big thank you once again to our guests. Take care, be well, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye, everybody.